The views and opinions of this broadcast do not reflect the views and opinions of Armed Media, New Productions, and its affiliates. Enjoy the show.
Hey everybody, welcome to Talk Live Paranormal with Shannon and Mr. Bill. I am Mr. Bill. Shannon will not be with us tonight. She is out of town tonight. But once, as like always, we got Mr. Jake on the line with us. How you doing, Jake?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Awesome. I can't wait to this heat to be over with. This weekend is going to be hotter than blazes, and I'm going to be stuck out in the sun all weekend. So.
Oof.
Got a softball tournament, but it's a great one. We do it every year. It helps benefit kids, and it's something I wouldn't miss for anything in the world. Want to shout out to the troops serving overseas. I'm sitting here complaining about it's hot. It's hotter than blazes where those guys are at. They're wearing 10 times the amount of equipment and clothing that we all are. I got no right to be questioning, be saying I'm hot. You guys are awesome.
Especially Please. When we're doing nothing.
Yeah, no kidding. You guys over there, keep safe, keep hydrated, keep your head down, keep your wits about you. Come home safe, man, men and women, because you know what? You got families back here at home that are praying for you, and if you send me a note and say you don't have anybody back here, don't worry, I'm praying for you. Keep doing what you're doing, and thank you very much for everything you do. Jake, how's it been?
It's been okay. Yeah, I haven't been up to a whole lot.
We haven't done much of investigations in a while. It's been a little warm for that. We got a few little things coming up here and there.
Yep.
So hopefully we'll have some other things to talk about. But tonight, I want to take everybody all the way back. Now we've come close to this a couple of times, but Jake, I'm gonna kind of put you in the hot seat on this one.
Oh no.
First of all, we're going to talk about what. Have you ever taken do you believe in ghost self-assessment? Have you ever done that?
I didn't even know that was a thing.
Actually, it's quite a big thing, and if you're out there and you're thinking about doing this, and you're thinking about running around in old buildings late at night and everything else, first of all, what you want to ask yourself is, what are your beliefs? Because they're going to affect, and I know Jake knows this too, they're going to affect how your paranormal investigation or your ghost hunt goes.
Yes, absolutely.
Your beliefs are going to be either A, the ones that hold you to the ground, or your beliefs are going to shoot you over the moon. Or you're going to be stuck in the middle. And there's a lot of people that are stuck in the middle all the time, and they don't seem to understand, I'm going out to do these investigations, but I'm not getting anything. Well, there's some simple questions to ask yourself, and it's actually called just a quick, what do you believe in ghosts? A self-assessment. Now, this self-assessment was written by Deona Kelly Sade. She's a Muslim American paranormal investigator with the Haunted North Carolina Paranormal Society. And she does a lot of lectures on this stuff, and I actually caught one of her lectures by accident online. She wrote this back in 2012, but when I read it, it makes complete sense. So anybody who's listening out there, just for fun, I want you to take this self-assessment. There's no right or wrong answers. I'm going to give you a question, and I've got probably 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I got 10 answers that could be the answers. And I want you to remember and write it down. Jake, you remember what you put down, and maybe we'll come back and we'll go over the questions, because I took this self-assessment the other day, and it really kind of made me think about how I do stuff. So if everybody's ready.
Hold on, let me get a piece of paper out.
Jeez, you'd think you'd be more prepared for this. I gave you like 1 second notice.
Okay. How many questions total is it? Do we know?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 simple questions.
But 10 possible answers to each question.
Yeah, or you can come up with your own answer. All right, so the very first question are, what are ghosts? Pretty straightforward and simple. Now, the answers she kind of gives to make you think are, number one, ghosts are souls of the departed that occupy our realm. Number two, ghosts are the souls of the departed that live on the other side of the veil and can cross over to our side. Number three, ghosts are energy forms. 4, ghosts are leftover aspects of our personalities. 5, ghosts are something we create, like thought forms. What am I on? I don't even know which one I'm on. Ghosts are some type of unexplained process at the quantum level.
Ooh, that's a big word.
Ghosts are demons or other type of non-humans. Ghosts can be all the above. I'm not sure what a ghost is, or I don't believe in ghosts. And before anybody says anything, there are a lot of paranormal investigators out there that are going to use that last one. They don't believe in ghosts. So there's your first question. Now, number 2. Which statement represents your personal beliefs about what happens when you die? We immediately go to heaven or hell. Number 2, we go to purgatory. Number 3, we're reincarnated. Number 4, we go to a type of suspended soul sleep until Jesus returns. Number 5, we go into a type of suspended soul sleep until Judgment Day, not necessarily from a Christian perspective. Number 6, we merely change into a different type of energy. Number 7, we remain in this realm for a while until we're ready to move on. Number 8, we go to the next spiritual plane. Number 9, we just die and that's it. Number 10, we go to heaven, hell, or whatever place you believe in. Or, I don't know what happens after we die. That's a really rough one, because depending on your level of spirituality and depending on what you believe in or you've been taught your entire life, there's several answers there that can kind of weigh down on you.
And some of them might overlap. Some individuals might hold beliefs that lead them to more than just one of those answers.
True. Remember, there's no right or wrong answer in this. It's just something to think about if you're going to be getting yourself into going into the paranormal investigation. All right. Next question. What is your motivation for doing paranormal investigations? Number 1, I want to learn about paranormal theory and the history of investigation. Number 2, I want to learn creative and artistic ways to document the investigation. Number 3, I want an experiment I want to experiment with cool equipment, like I build. Number 4, I want to conduct various experiments. Number 5, I want to help homeowners. Number 6, I'm interested in demonology and spiritual warfare. Number 7, I'm interested in learning how the world works. Number 8, I want to develop my own intuitive abilities. Number 9, I'm interested in having a paranormal experience. And number 10, I'm interested in being someone valued for my ideas and contributions. All right. That's kind of the motivation one. That one there can be a bunch of those combined too.
Yep, for sure.
So, this is a good one. This is one of the ones that kind of works its way into the very first question, but it jumps right into this is an opinion. In your opinion, what causes a ghost? Number 1, they have unfinished business. Number 2, they are afraid and unable to cross over. Number 3, they want to stay behind and check on loved ones. Number 4, they can come and go whenever they want. Number 5, they can come and go at specific times for specific reasons. Number 6, a living agent as a form of psychokinesis may generate a ghost. Number 7, a ghost is merely a scientific yet unexplained natural process we do not yet and can cross. We do not what? A natural process, and we do not yet and can cross over to our side. And the last one, I have no idea. And that's again, these are all whatever you feel. That was what your opinion. What causes a ghost?
Can you go through some of those again?
Yep. The first one, they have unfinished business. They are afraid or unable to cross over. They want to stay behind and check on loved ones. They can come and go whenever they want. They can come and go at specific times for specific reasons. A living agent as a form of psychokinesis may generate a ghost. A ghost is merely a scientific yet unexplained natural process we do not know yet and can cross over to our side. Or I have no idea. Now, I don't know about that psychokinesis one can generate a ghost.
I know what that's referring to, and we've talked about it before.
What's it referring to?
Poltergeist.
But poltergeists are just noisy spirits.
If you look at the literal definition, yes. But a lot of times you hear psychokinesis thrown in with poltergeists in the sense that poltergeists are kind of taking on this new definition that it's a manifestation of energies in the home. And that's why they are starting to throw psychokinesis in there, because psycho meaning the mind, kinesis meaning movement. So it's this idea of things moving in response to what's going on in somebody's brain.
So, okay, so there's that one's pretty much saying that we produce the ghosts as the living through psychokinesis.
Correct.
Okay. Now, there's one question left. Which statement reflects how you feel the quote-unquote other side works? There are certain rules that ghosts and spirits must follow. Purgatory is the other side. We merely experience a holographic aspect of the multiverse. There are many dimensions occupied by various forms, life forms, and energies. Ghosts are merely undefined energies, and we are experiencing natural, not supernatural phenomena. Ghosts can see us all the time, but we can't see them unless they want us to. Certain conditions have to be just right in order to communicate across the veil. The other side, quote unquote, is something accessible to us at any given time through the use of our consciousness. That one there kind of made me think. Because I don't know if there's any rules that ghosts and spirits have to follow. I don't know how we'd prove or find out the list of the rules ghosts and spirits must follow.
Have you not seen Beetlejuice, the handbook?
If I were to find a handbook that worked like that, you'd think I'd be working where I'm working now.
Fair.
Purgatory is the other side. So if you're saying that, if some people are saying that purgatory is the other side, then what is purgatory? Why is it just stuck in purgatory? So we're done here, we go to purgatory, and we're just stuck there.
Is that a rhetorical question?
I don't know. What's your thought?
I mean, if you look at what I hate to say traditional because I don't think that's quite the word I want to use, but when you look at the definition of purgatory that I guess I'm familiar with, I don't know if others are familiar with this definition as well, but I was always told that purgatory is sort of like being in limbo, almost like you're waiting to be told if you're going to heaven or hell. Now, keep in mind that takes a Judeo-Christian approach, which
True.
may not align with how other spiritual practices or religions may define it. But that's what I always was told that it was, is it's kind of this middle ground until you go to heaven or hell.
So, according to the dictionary, the actual term purgatory, first one is, the only one it shows me, is in Roman Catholic doctrine, is a place or a state of suffering inhabited by the souls of sinners who are expecting expectating? E-X-P-I-A-T-I-N-G? Expectating.
I don't think that's what the word is, but I am having a hard time picturing it in my head.
Who are expecting their sins before they go to heaven.
Which that makes sense, because think about what the root word of purgatory is. It's purge.
True, but there's also another portion in here which purgatory means mental anguish or suffering. So are some people in purgatory while they're alive?
If you go by that definition, I think you could. That's one way to look at that definition, yeah.
True. I guess it's hard to say. I guess, people are suffering all the time. There's always people in anguish and agony. There's just so much. I hate to say it. There's so much hell on earth right now that we're all. Well, I guess in that definition, then we're all in purgatory right now. But we're living our purgatory. Does that mean? Now let me throw this one out there. If that means we're in purgatory right now, does that mean we've all died and we've all met here? And now we're trying to atone for our suffering or our sins?
Or,
because
if you look at that definition you just gave,
yes,
does it say anything about someone having to have died to be in purgatory?
No. No.
So then, if you think about it, in terms of it being a place where we go through anguish and suffering in order to purge ourselves of our sins, if you look at the Christian view of what we're all here for, and as far as forgiveness and you, like in the, I think it's Catholic, I'm not real big on religion, you go to confession and then you're told what you can do to atone for the sin that you committed. Is that not the definition of purgatory you just gave?
Yeah.
So then, why is it even a question? Are we in purgatory now? Because it seems to me like that's a pretty straightforward black and white definition.
We actually are.
That's my point.
Yeah. Huh. And that's deep, dude. That's deep.
Shanks, I have my moments.
So if anybody else out there has taken the quiz or taken those 5 questions, I'm going to read the 5 questions without the answers again. The first one is, what are ghosts? Second one goes, well, that one's what statement represents your personal beliefs about what happens when we die? What is your motivation for doing paranormal investigation? In your opinion, what causes ghosts? And then that statement of how you feel the other side works. So here's what this lady has you do. Now that you've taken the self-assessment, really think about what you believe in and how you feel about ghosts, haunting, the afterlife, their role in religion and science and the way the world works. Hopefully you have a better sense of what you believe in and what you may want to accomplish in an investigation. Maybe write out your own personal statement and put it away somewhere and revisit it either in a few months or a few years, and see if your ideas and your thoughts have changed after you've been doing this for a while. This type of journey can transform you. It can make you either believe more, or it could change what you want to do. And there's nothing wrong with change. Change is something that we all have to go through. We all make changes in our lives. Every single day, we change things. Like just tonight, I changed the channel. I changed what I was watching. No, that wasn't a good one? Okay.
I didn't know you were looking for a reaction.
Oh, see, that's how good it was. There was no reaction. No, I think this is a good way to kind of start, and I think I have a few other people that I want to ask these questions to and see what they come up with. We'll sit down with the rest of the group and maybe we'll have everybody else answer the questions.
So then what do our answers to these mean individually? Because I know you said that we could create a statement about what our goals are and what we believe, but because when I'm thinking of this of like the old school 90s, like Cosmo, like there's some sort of like rating based on your answers. Is that not the situation with this? There's
no rating anywhere on this. It's just to make you think. That's really all it is. And maybe kind of self-assess yourself. Self-assess yourself. Do a self-assessment after you've been doing this for a while. I'm really trying hard not to sneeze right now. And this sucks. But I'm going to anyway. Well, excuse me. So, kind of think about those questions. Keep them, and then whether in a month or a year, if you decide that you want to spend a year or a couple months going on investigations or kind of looking at it deeper, get yourself into it, and then pull that self-assessment back out again, and just kind of look at it and go, oh my God, did I change? Do I not believe in that anymore? Like I never put 2 and 2 together until tonight about the whole purgatory thing. It makes sense. It really does. Who knows that, we've discussed this before. What if we're spirits? And there's other people out there that are alive. And we're the spirits trying to contact other people that are actually alive. Maybe the people that we go on investigations, maybe they're not passed on. Maybe we're crossing into their realm. Maybe we're crossing over into their level of consciousness, trying to communicate with what we think is the dead, or the passed on, or the energy that's no longer here. It could go the other way. It really could. And it could be, it could be rough if that's what it turns out to be, because then I know I'm dead. But it kind of also goes back to, if you take these questions and go back, way back, and think about, we hear people all the time talk about, I'm not sure if I have any abilities or not. I don't know if the abilities are there. But if you take a step back and you start looking at things and remembering as a child, you know, what did we go through as a child? What did you see as a child? What did you hear? You know, maybe embracing spiritual gifts that you don't know are there. I mean, think about it. Have you ever felt really alone or confused by an experience that doesn't seem right? And I know I'm asking you, Jake, because I've hunt with you, but
I don't know. I think, yeah. I'm trying to think of how I want to phrase this. Have I ever had an experience that left me confused? Yes. But it's one of those pieces where it's almost a confusion because I don't understand what happened or what I actually experienced.
Okay, and then think about it. When you start looking back, when you thought, you know, in the beginning when things were just happening, did you know in your soul that you may have an unconventional spiritual gift, but you felt misunderstood by your family or society or religious, and I use that in quotes. So have you suppressed? Did you suppress your abilities in the beginning, or your gifts or your talents?
In the beginning,
or was it just confusing?
No, it was kind of. Did I ever tell you this story of how this all started for me?
I got a drink in my hand. Go for it.
My older brother, who was awful to me growing up. I say that because scary movies have never bothered him, even when we were both really little.
Okay.
Whereas I was traumatized because of what he did to me. So I hated scary movies and paranormal TV shows for the longest time because he would wake me up in the middle of the night at our grandparents' house because they had a ton of movies. They still have the original Alien trilogy on VHS.
Wow.
So they had a ton of movies, and this was back in the 90s, early 2000s, so DVDs weren't quite as popular as they are now.
And they were expensive.
Yes. And so he'd wake me up in the middle of the night, and I fell for it every time, being the younger brother. He'd go, "Do you want to watch a movie?" And I was, 3, 4, 5, 6, somewhere in that age. And I'd always say, yeah. And he would never let me pick, which you think I would have eventually have caught on to. But it was always either I Know What You Did Last Summer, The Blair Witch Project.
Oh my God.
The Sixth Sense, or I Still Know What You Did Last Summer. Those are the 4 ones I remember the most as being options. And so I hated them as a kid because they were always really scary to me. And so then I stayed away from scary movies for a really, really, really long time. My brother kind of got a little bit into the paranormal TV shows, Ghost Hunters was a big one. I remember him watching a little bit growing up. And so then he kind of got me into it. And then from there, I kind of branched off, and that was when all of these paranormal shows really exploded, and there were a whole bunch of them out there on TV all the time. And so I started watching a little bit of everything that I could. And there was one, it was on a Travel Channel. It took place in the UK. It's no longer on TV. And it's kind of funny when I go back and watch it now because I look at it and I'm like, yeah, that was super produced. But I loved it at the time. And they had psychic mediums that they would go on these investigations with, and they do a walk around and they just talk about what they were picking up on, and they'd have a historian that would confirm or say, nope, we don't have anything about that, or be like, yeah, we have a little bit about this, but not enough to say, yes, it's that person or it's not, or go, yeah, we've heard stories about that, but nothing that's ever been concrete. And so it was kind of interesting to see the two of those overlap. Now, keep in mind it's a TV show, so yep. How much of that is true, I don't know. But there was one particular medium they brought on. He's very, very famous in the UK. And I remember I don't remember exactly how it got started, but I remember watching that show, and I was just sitting on my bed, and my back was to my closet, and I remember feeling a tug on the back of my shirt.
Okay.
And it started off as just little tiny things like that. And I was, I don't know, 4th, 5th, 6th grade-ish. And then things started picking up a little bit more. Then I had a dream about a little girl, which at the time I didn't know this, but the dream took place right about where my house was located. And I realized this when I recognized some of the trees and some of the kind of the layout of the land that I saw in my dream. And this little girl, it was a farmhouse. It was mid to late 1800s, right around the beginning of the time that the town started. And it was farmland, and this girl came out of the house, and there was a little wooded area that she liked to go play in. And so it was like I was at a distance watching this all play out. And she went out into the little wooded area where she liked to play. And then I just remember hearing a blood-curdling scream. And then I could see the colors of the sky change really rapidly, like time kind of sped up.
Yeah.
And it took place in the summer. So then it went to about 7, 8 o'clock where you start to get that gold, purple, pink color at sunset. And then the dad came out to the front porch, called the little girl's name, knew that she liked to play in this wooded area. So he walked out there. And he found her hanging from a tree.
Wow.
And I thought it was just a dream at the time. Until a couple years later, I don't even remember what I was watching. I was watching something on TV. And there are some times where you can just tell like someone's coming up behind you. And it was that sort of sensation. And I looked over, and in my head, I saw the picture of the little girl from my dream. Now, mind you, this is 2 years or so after I had the dream. And then I was like, okay, this is weird. Like, what is happening? And so I was like, okay. I was like, why don't I just try and talk to her, see what information comes out? And so I was just like, are you the little girl from my dream? And I know you've heard me say this before, Bill, where I say I've heard them say this. And the reason why sometimes I do, it's like hearing like a little voice in your head saying
Yep.
But most commonly what it actually is I see it in my head spelled out. Like I'll see a word or a name spelled out.
Okay.
And so then I saw the word yes spelled out in my head, and I said, okay, well then is your name, whatever that I heard in the dream, I asked her what her name was, and then the name Jennifer I saw in my head, which was the name that the father said in the dream. And so I was just kind of talking to her, getting some information from her, and then all of a sudden this older guy, I say older because he was older than her, he walks in, and I'm like, okay, what the heck is happening? Who are you? And then I saw his name flash across my in my brain, and it said Robert, and I said, okay. I said, are you this girl's father? And then again I saw the yes, and I was like, oh, okay, now it's all starting to kind of make sense what's happening. And so I was like, okay, well, I know how she died, but how did you die? And that's when I saw in my head, it was like a video, like a memory going through my head, and he was out in the fields, and this is back before they had mechanical plows, so it was still being pulled by animals.
Okay.
And he had the blade or whatever you want to call it behind, and then the animal's pulling it in the front.
Yep.
And he was looking over his shoulder, kind of just making sure that everything behind him was working and doing what it's supposed to do. Well, he leaned too far to one side and fell out. And the horses are what I saw. The horses kept going, and he got caught in the plow. And it sliced him up.
Which actually was a natural occurrence that happened quite a lot.
And so that's what I saw. That's what he showed me. And kind of long story short, that happened. Some other information came about. A third guy got involved. Turns out the third guy was a family friend. He's the one that hanged the daughter in the trees. They had a screaming match in my room, and I'm like 10 years old when this is happening. So I don't know what to do. I'm kind of curled up in a corner of my room, trying not to cry. And then eventually things settled down, and I went to bed, woke up, because Robert was moving around my room, and he knocked something and woke me up. And it was kind of funny when I looked at him. He even looked over at me and kind of did the like, "Oh shit, I'm sorry," kind of look. And then I was like, "Okay, whatever. This is not happening. I'm going back to bed." And so I did. I woke up the next day and haven't seen any of those three since. And this is, oh gosh, 2000. Mid-2000s, 2004 to 2007, somewhere in there.
Wow.
And then that was when I really kind of started to realize, like, okay, this is not a normal thing. And I don't remember how much longer it was after this stuff started to happen, but I remember I tried talking to my parents about it. My mom, I don't remember saying much right away. But my dad, I remember him going, okay, well, if you're psychic, then, I've got something in my hand. Which hand is it in? And I just remember being like, no, it doesn't, like, it's not that kind. That's not how it works. And he just kind of dismissed it, and that was the end of it. And then over the span of a couple years, I started having more experiences and told some of my friends, about things I could do, things I was seeing and that kind of stuff. And I was very fortunate enough that I had very supportive friends, and they were super interested in it. So every time we went somewhere, they'd be like, "Did you see anything? Or are you getting anything?" Because they wanted to know more. Yeah, it sounded kind of cheesy, but they wanted to know more, and I was okay with that. It was better than an alternative that could have happened.
Yeah, definitely.
So they kind of helped me foster it a little bit. I remember one summer, a friend of mine that I'd known since probably kindergarten, we were at our old elementary school because there weren't a whole lot of parks in town, and that was the closest to both of our houses. And so that was a mutual meeting spot for a lot of us. And we were on one side of the building, and I remember telling him about some stuff that I was feeling and that kind of stuff. And we looked into a window into a classroom. And I looked at him and I said, "You're never going to believe this." And he goes, "What? What do you see?" And I said, I think it was a little boy. Because I saw a boy and a girl, but not at the same time. And I think it was the boy I saw first. And I said, "There's a little boy crying in the corner of that classroom." And he looks at me and he goes, his jaw kind of dropped and he goes, "Wait, what?" I said, "Yeah." I said, "I don't know what it's about. I don't know who he is. He's just in there crying." And then we were like, "We got to figure this out." Because, we were young and we thought we were cool.
Definitely.
And there was a little wooded area where there used to be a playground that they removed to do some add-ons.
Okay.
And we kind of came around that new added-on part, and we were just we had our bikes and we were just stopped by this wooded area to be like, wait, like, let's process what just happened. Like, what did I just see? What does it all mean? That kind of stuff. And then, as we're kind of talking through this, I tell him, I go, "There's a few people in this wooded area behind me." I said, "There's a man and two kids." And he goes, "Wait, like right now?" And I said, "Yeah." I said, they're just watching us." And he goes, "Well, let's go talk to them." And I'm like, "Okay, yeah, sure, fine, whatever." Kind of not real sure how this was all going to go. And what it was is there were actually four, but the fourth one was not a good person. He was holding the two kids back. And then the other guy was protecting them from this not so great thing, because I don't know what else to call it. And I remember at this time, this was, I don't know, the other day or so, another friend of ours was there who knew, and we were kind of recapping for him what had happened the day before. And he's like, "Well, are those four people here now?" And I was like, "Yeah, they don't really go anywhere." And he's like, "Okay." He's like, "Well, go see what you can do." I was like, okay. So I'm standing there, and I turn around and I look at him. And I said, so this guy that's holding the kids is here. And they're like, well, like, what does he look like? And I said, all I can see is red eyes and a black shadow. And then they're like, well, how tall is he? And I held my hand, and I said, he's standing right behind me. I said, I just felt him walk up behind me, and I held my hand up so high or whatever. And I was like, he's about this tall. And one of my friends, like, went white. And that made me panic. So I rushed away from where I was at, and I was like, what is happening? And he goes, I kid you not. He goes, when you said where your hand was, he goes, I saw the outline of a person standing behind you. He goes, and I saw red eyes. And that's when I looked at him. I was like, you're not supposed to tell me that.
So was it do you think it was the combination of the fear that he was feeling or the excitement? I don't want to use the word fear. Let's use the word excitement he was feeling, along with the way you were describing it. Was it able to manifest in front of him so he could see it?
I don't know. I think that's a possibility.
Or were you able to bring it out?
God, I hope not. I don't know. I think both of those are possible, I suppose, depending on how you look at it and kind of your own personal thoughts and beliefs on all of this. But I don't really know. I've never thought about it. But then, and you actually, when we did some other stuff, I think I told you this story. There was a friend of mine who lived in a newer housing development, kind of on the outskirts of town. And I was over at her house. And I was over at her house because I was seeing stuff in the locker room area at our school during a school dance. Okay, this shit happens to me. It just does. And so we were over at her house, and down in the basement was kind of a family room area. And we were waiting on a third friend of ours to get there. Okay. And I was like, okay, there is definitely a guy that hangs out in this basement. I'm like, I am not about him. He's mean, he's angry, he doesn't like to be messed with, he does not like people down here. And she's like, okay. And I told her kind of where he hangs out, and she goes, my brother's room, when he lived at home, was back there. She goes, and he always felt like he was being stared down. He never felt alone. He always felt like there was anger around him and that kind of stuff. I was like, well, it's this dude. And so then there's a little creek that ran by or through their backyard, and they had a little wooded area back there too. And we were just kind of walking around. She's like, well, what do you get? All that kind of stuff. And I was like, I don't know what year it was. I was like, but there was a year where there was a lot of rain, there was a lot of flooding, and there was a tree. And I told her where up on the tree the water level was. And I told her, I was like, and then up on that ridge, there were these two farmers that were fighting over something. And they started to push, and one guy pushed the other a little too hard, and he kind of tumbled down the hill and into the water. Well, he hit his head on a rock in the water, and it knocked him out, and he drowned.
Oh, wow.
And so I saw that. Then our other friend showed up, and the friend who lived there was like, hey, there's some old farm equipment. Like, do you guys want to go see it? And us being, 14 at the time, we're like, yeah, let's do it. So she took us out back there, and it's November, so it got dark by 5 o'clock. So it was dark at this point. We had our flashlights. And we got on the back side of the creek, and I stopped. And I shined my flashlight on the other side of the creek on a tree. And my friends were like, well, what's going on? What do you see? I said, there's a man squatted as a tree, squatted up against the tree. It just appeared as a black shadow, but I could see the light reflecting off of his eyes, so they took a golden color. And then he stood up and started walking toward us. And I was like, okay, we need to go. So we ran to the old farm equipment. There's an old carriage, that kind of stuff. And we get back there, and she shows us this old farm equipment. I had no idea what it was. I am not a farm kid, so I don't know what a lot of those farm equipment looks like. So I'm like, I don't know what this is. And I shined my flashlight on it, and I saw 5 shadow people around it, and they all stopped and looked at me when I shined my flashlight, and so I panicked. I took off the other direction back to the house, and my two friends were like, "Don't leave us here." So they came with me, and we went upstairs because there was a game room up there. Before we got into the game room, there was a little sitting area, a chair and an end table, and I looked and I said to my friend that lived in the house, and I said, there's a guy that's sitting in that chair. I said, he's got a suit and he's got a top hat. I said, and there's a little black dog on the floor next to him. And she goes, "Did you say black dog?" And I said, "Yeah, why?" She goes, "The other day," she goes, "I looked over the railing and I saw a black dog running circles in my living room."
Did she own a black dog?
No. She did not. I think she had a white dog.
Okay.
But she did not have a black dog. And so then we went to kind of process what had happened at this farm equipment thing, because they were like, "What did you see?" And so I told them. And I was like, "I don't know what that piece of equipment was." And a friend of mine goes, "I know what it was." He goes, "It's something that they used to put bulls in when they would brand them. And they would put the bulls in those things to keep them from getting loose and kind of crazy." And
it's called a shoot. People. It's called a shoot, head shoot.
Okay, sure. He didn't know what it was called. He just knew what it was for. And he had told me that when he had seen it, it was almost like he had a memory playing back in his head where there were 4 or 5 guys around this thing with the bull in it, getting ready to brand the bull, and then either they didn't have it in right or it wasn't in all the way, and so somehow the bull got loose, and he saw it like trampling those 5 guys. Now, mind you, this guy had never seen anything like that before. And as far as I know, he hasn't seen anything since. So take that information and do it the way you will.
Well, that goes back to our whole point of this version on the show. You were able to have the support around you of the people that could that really wanted to know, and they didn't shun you and they didn't push you away. And like you had said, it could have gone a completely different way for you.
Mm-hmm.
If he had the abilities to see but now has been shunned and quieted because the people that he's around now are, kind of like, "You're nuts, you're crazy, shut up, you don't know," then that's just going to hinder any little possible thing you could want to do.
Right.
It's going to shut you down and make you not want to look. So I know that when I was growing up, and I didn't know this until after, a long time after, my mom had told me in the last couple of years, when we really got the group going and got things started, and she told my wife and she told Michelle and a couple other people that there's always been an ability there. There's always been something there. But for some reason, I just stopped. And I had to, I pressed my mom into trying to figure out, when did it stop? How old was I? Where was we? What were we doing? What was I doing? And she remembers my accident, where I got hurt pretty bad. Okay. She said it actually seems like that's when it stopped, after I got hit really hard in the back of the head.
And I've heard of injuries like that doing that to other people. So that wouldn't surprise me.
And then I look at all the other traumas that I've been through in my life and all the stuff that, stuck here in purgatory like we are. All the different things that have happened to me and the places I've been in my life and around the world and all over the place, looking at things going, how do I get that back? How do I, and that's where, the meditation is hopefully going to help. And then working with other people and talking and, using whatever things I can. I tried the sleep tea once already. Mm-hmm. Because for anybody who's listening out there and whoever's listened before, I don't dream. And I know everybody dreams. Let me rephrase that. I don't remember my dreams. And it's been told to me that the reason why most of the time people don't remember your dreams is because something is protecting you from remembering what has happened in your past. And a lot of times in your past, some of those dreams will come back to, show themselves to you as something that's probably not nice. And it's something protecting protecting me from knowing what happened in my past. I don't know if that's true or not. I don't know what I believe in that one because I'm still working on that one. But I know that there was some pretty adamantly wild dreams that night on the sleep tea, and I'm going to try it again. I'm probably going to do it this Friday just because I know that Saturday won't work for me. I'm trying to only do it on the weekends because I wake up. I did it that Saturday night, and I woke up and I was just worn out. It was like I almost felt like I'd been running from dream to dream to dream to dream, and I was chasing something. That's what I felt like. You know, it felt like I had just spent the last 8 to 9 hours in the gym going like a bat out of hell.
Mm-hmm.
So it wasn't. It's not. And sometimes, you know, I look at it thinking people would say, well, then why do you want to do it again? I want to do it again because I want to know.
Right.
That's the hardest part in it, is the not knowing. If you know that something is there for you, if you know that you have some sort of an ability, and again, I believe that every one of us has the ability. It's the whole piece of embracing that ability and trying to figure out exactly, you know, what it is, when's it going to happen? When's anything going to happen to, you know, that's going to make me understand, you know, that this ability, it could be there, it could not be there, or what is the ability?
Right.
I know that there's people that said that start talking about, you know, when they were younger, they had all these different paranormal experiences, and that it was, you know, you hear a lot of people talking about how right before my grandpa died, he told me it'll come to you, or something will happen. I guess if you start looking at it, everyone receives a special gift to share in this world. We all have a special gift. It's our job to accept it and try to understand it. And it's even your bigger job is to use your gift to the best of your ability. And I'm not saying you want to use mind control on people and steal all their money or anything like that, because that's just straight up wrong. But if your ability comes to you and as a young child, and as you get older, it fades away. You know, like we talked about, you know, kids.
Right.
Someday, hopefully, maybe when we least expect it, your gift will mysteriously reappear. It'll happen. If you and sometimes it takes that meditation, and it takes not understanding what you're supposed to understand right away, and the confusion and the questions and everything else that go through you to allow that to come out. You can, you know, as I started down this journey last December, trying to understand what the hell is going on, and dealing with what a few people had told me about what they think my ability is. And it wasn't just the one person that told me. It was several, and it was never all at one time. It was, you know, several different people that we've worked with and that we spent time with have all said that when sometimes they'll go on an investigation or do a hunt with a lot of people, and you know, certain people aren't there, and it's like, it's okay, it wasn't that bad, we got a little bit, but then you get other people that show up, and it's just an amazing hunt, and people all hear things and see things, and there's I'm going to use Tyler on this one. I've seen Tyler give just random readings to people out of the blue and talk to them about certain things about their home and the place they're trying to buy, and or you know, they're going to go do this and they're going to go do that, but don't do this or look in this room. And then he gets these messages back going, "Oh my God, I'm so glad we didn't buy that house because you were dead on, dead right." Hearing him talk about the people that were going to be moving and taking their dead dog with them, the rest of us kind of looked like, "What the hell is he talking about?" And found out that the dog had died. But the kids didn't, and they buried him in the yard, and the kids didn't want to move without taking the dead dog with them. And Tyler actually
wow.
he actually told them, you have to take the dog with you. The dog's going to go with you whether you want it to or not, but your best bet is to take the dog with you. And he even described the box the dog was in. Now, the only people who have known what kind of box that dog was in are the ones that put him in there and buried him.
Right.
It's just amazing to watch him work. And then to hear him talk about how, we talk to other people and I've where he just gives a random reading and it's not as detailed. And to know then to hear him say, he was one of them that said that he believes that my gift and my ability is the ability to walk on both sides. I think we've talked about this before.
Mm-hmm.
Having the ability to have the quote unquote dead look at me as being alive, and the alive look at me as being able to more or less walk on both sides in the spiritual sense, to be able to move back and forth. The dead look at me as like I'm alive and I'm one of them, but you guys look at me as I'm alive and I'm one of you. So if that's true, and that's the realm that I'm supposed to go down, in the line that I'm supposed to walk, and if it's there to try to enhance things, then so be it. But then to have him come out and say, we went to that exact same place and you weren't there, and things weren't, we weren't getting the same stuff, and then I go again with them, and it's just, being right there with them, watching Rob go through the experiences Rob goes through, knowing that how sensitive he is, right. and then knowing that Rob and I can't hunt together at the same time in the same room. Rob says it. It's too overpowering. He feels so many senses. When we were staying down there in that house down in Missouri,
yep.
He said everything was fine the first night when they were there.
And then we got there, and
it ramped up so high.
Yeah, it hit him hard.
Oh, it did. It messed him up bad. But knowing that if that's what it is, then that's the way I'm going to pursue things. But I have to be able to slow down and let the natural courses happen the way the natural courses are going to happen. Mm-hmm. I can't push it, is I guess the easiest way to say it. Right now it's just too damn hot out to push it. It's too hot to go down the natural roads. But I know we're running out of time here. We're getting close to the end. Jake, I want to thank you for being here. You're awesome.
Yeah, absolutely.
I want to thank Jimmy in the background back there. Jimmy, thanks for producing this thing tonight. I want to thank all the listeners out there. Again, shout out to the troops that are overseas. You guys keep your heads down, keep things going. Come home, shoot us a line, Talk Live Paranormal on Facebook. Shoot us a message if you get a chance, even just to let us know that you're home. Guys, thank you very much for being here tonight. We'll talk to you later. We'll see you in the dark. And hey, you know what? You can only try every day to do what you can. So just keep on trying. We'll talk to you guys later. Be good. Have a safe night.